it's Christy here to read you another bedtime story. Tonight we are going to read all about Daisy's Big Dig by Angie Morgan. Shall we see what Daisy gets up to? Let's do it. I'm Daisy, and I live at number 1 Magnolia Street with my mom and dad and Monty, my dog. I like talking to everyone on our street, but do you think they talk to each other? No, they don't. At number 2 lives old Mr. Hofmeister. He's about 100, and if he had a sign on his door, it would say, "Keep out!" in big black spiky letters. He has an enormous garden where he grows fantastic vegetables. Even I eat Mr. Hofmeister's vegetables, and I hate vegetables. At number 3 live the Daves. Big Dave, Small Dave, and Smiley Dave. They're students, so their garden is extremely messy. Mr. Hofmeister calls them rude names, but I like them. Big Dave helped me with my homework once. I got a star and a smiley face. At number 4 live the Lemming family. Mrs. Lemming has loads of children. It's always noisy, and Mrs. Lemming says, "All I really want is a bit of peace and quiet." She never gets it, though. My best friend is Lucy Lemming. She comes to my house a lot. She says I'm really lucky to have a room of my own. She has to share with her brother Milo, who picks his nose and has a tarantula. At number 5 live Tarkin Fanshaw and his mum and dad. Tarkin is never allowed out in case he gets dirty or catches something. He reads all the time, and he hasn't even got a TV. At number 6 lives old Mrs. Benjamin. She makes brilliant cakes, and her house always smells of cooking. She's nearly always smiling, but sometimes she gets sad. Her daughter and all her grandchildren live in Australia, which is on the other side of the world. We've got a globe in our classroom. That's how I know. Professor Flowerdew and his wife live next to Mrs. Benjamin at number 7. Professor Flowerdew invents things. Once, he blew up his shed trying to invent a new kind of electricity. The fire brigade had to come. It was brilliant. One day, I went around to see old Mr. Hofmeister, and he was very worried. He'd hurt his back lifting a very large marrow, and now he couldn't dig in his garden. I wanted to help, so I said, "Don't worry, Mr. Hofmeister. Leave it to me." I needed a plan, so I went to find Lucy. We had a think. Then we had a snack. Then we had another think, and we came up with a good plan. We wrote lots of letters. They said, "Mr. Hofmeister would like to invite you to a digging party on Saturday afternoon. There will be tea and cakes. P.S. There is also hidden treasure." And then we posted them to all our neighbors. Everyone came! Mr. Hofmeister was a bit surprised when they all arrived at his house, but lots of interesting things happened. The Daves did most of the digging, and Mr. Hofmeister had to admit that their digging was the best. He said he would give them lots of vegetables, which would be good for their brains. Tarkin and Professor Flowerdew got on like a shed on fire. They didn't dig much. Mrs. Benjamin had a really good time digging with the Lemming children. Mrs. Lemming kept saying, "Do let me know if they're a nuisance." She didn't mean it, though. She was enjoying the peace and quiet. Everyone loved the tea and cakes. And what happened after the party? Well, Mrs. Benjamin had the Lemming children around to her house a lot, and they baked cakes and made things. And Mrs. Lemming finally got some peace and quiet. Tarkin was able to borrow loads of interesting books from Professor Flowerdew, but his mom never let him go into his shed, just in case of explosions. Mr. Hofmeister and the Daves became good friends, and the Daves did really well at their exams because of eating all those vegetables. And was there any treasure in Mr. Hofmeister's garden? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think there was treasure in Mr. Hofmeister's garden? What do you think it was? I hope you enjoyed that story. Have a very good night and sleep tight, and we'll see you soon. Night night.